what you're saying. Get out my business, okay?
And I am by definition a high value man. I can imagine so many people. You're toxic. No, don't exit out of the show. I promise you, it'll come with reason. This is a show. This is a video by request by the Reaction Booth. If you know, you know. This video was sent to me, and they asked for my opinion with Eric, but Eric's tied up right now, figuratively speaking. And I just want to be able to speak on this because the question about what is by definition a high value man, what makes a man high value, and also something that's been going on in the ether is what is pretty privilege, and announced to me, I didn't know I was suffering in boatloads of both of those. I have pretty privilege and I have been considered a high value man, but without being totally obnoxious, I think it's super important to talk about this on the construct, on the idea of what it really means to be high value as a man, and what does your pretty privilege truly represent, and how is that also another stigma of the thing. It's actually crazy because I forgot to cover a story in the quickies that I wanted to, but we can actually talk a little bit about here. But I want to bring attention to this video, which I'll be putting in the chat right now. Steph, she has a video about this, and it's a pretty interesting video. She has a great platform from what I could see. So I definitely want you guys to go check that video out and tell her Heero sent you. Tell her Heero sent you, and that, you know, you highly approve of what the video's going on. And I like to take some segments from her video, but the part that I'm looking for is, I think this part right here. Whoops, I lost it. This part. It gives us by definition what a high value man is, and stop me if you think you're wrong, because I think this is a pretty good definition of what a high value man is. He's emotionally intelligent. He has a purpose. He takes care of himself. He has high self-esteem. He generates his own self-esteem. Number 5 is critical as fuck. Number 1 is super critical, but number 5 is critical as fuck. Number 6, he's assertive. Number 7, he knows power dynamics. Number 8, he is honest to his own value system. That's also super critical. Like a fucking electric attack on a water Pokemon. Number 9, he has growth. He has a growth mindset. Number 10, he takes responsibility. All of these things by definition, is like what you would think and envision a high value man. But when you think about what high value man means in the YouTube verse, Kevin Samuel comes to mind. And I don't think Kevin Samuels is a good representation of a high value man. I don't think the speech that he brings out is a good representation of high value man, because most of his views on what it means to be a high value man is tied to a financial aspect. He often talks about the value of a man from a financial standpoint, that which led to a very important question that this YouTuber asks, which is, can a high value man be a poor person? Can a poor person can hold all of these things? Does that make that person no longer a high value person? And it really stuck me in a rut, because I was like, damn, how many women have I dated when I was broke as a joke, and they valued me for the things that I could do outside of things? And it's a question I often ask other men. When you don't, how do you show your love for, how do you show your affection, your love as a man when you're not paying bills? Like, what are other ways that you show appreciation and value to people around you when you're not being the provider? Like, is that enough? And to some people that is, and I'm not taking that away, but is it enough to be just person with money and have shitty value, because we know the two richest people on the fucking planet are divorced. So we know money doesn't make you a high value person, and that money isn't enough to keep someone happy with you. So I'm often interested to answer these questions. And to be honest, I think going with number one, emotional intelligence. If you don't got that, I don't even think you're human. If you don't have emotional intelligence, I literally think a crow, an octopus, or what's another super smart animal? A dolphin could probably beat you in like an IQ test or something like that. And you get points for just writing your goddamn name. I think that dolphin will beat you. I think that crow will beat you. I think that octopus will beat you. I think it's super important for us to be able to analyze your status of intelligence. Like if I don't think you have the mental fortitude to even stand in a conversation with me, I'm not even going to entertain you. I'll tell you win and walk away. And while you over there, I won, you can have it. My stocks are still going to come in on Friday. You know? The girl you want to be with is still texting me. You know? So it's like whatever. But that's super important. He has purpose. And I think that's super important when it comes to like vision. Someone who can move forward, someone who has the ability to like imagine how this thing, like how they want to see themselves. I think you need to have a vision. I think your vision needs to be scaled to your reality. Like you can't be out here saying you're going to be a billionaire when you've never been a thousandaire. Let that shit resonate. He takes care of himself. Yo, you're not a high value man if you don't clean underneath your fingernails. If you don't clean underneath your fingernails, you're not a high value man. You hear me? Yeah, it's something that simple. You don't brush your teeth twice a day, you're not a high value man. Sorry. If you think going into a girl's bathroom and seeing all her hair care products is like, wow, this is so much stuff. If they don't have the same reaction when they walk in your bathroom, you're not a high value man. A lot of people think like cologne is supposed to be smelled from a distance. No. Mi amor, El Capitan. You want the woman to smell you when she's the closest possible to you, because that's where you want her. That's what cologne was designed for. But it's definitely not designed to replace a shower, so keep that in mind. He has high self-esteem. I think he takes care of himself. That's the thing. He has high self-esteem. I think this is important from a standpoint of like just believing in yourself first. Before you go to seek validation from the masses, check on your own self first. Like, what do you need from this situation to really prosper? I think that's what I gained from having high self-esteem. I think I am the greatest at whatever I'm putting myself towards. But I'm my biggest hype man. I don't need to pay somebody to hype me up. He generates his own self-esteem. And I think they kind of stole 4 and 5 from us, because 5 is legit the one that you want to think about. And it's the troll is super real right now, Eric. You know that. And I'm gonna get to y'all comments here in a section. He knows power dynamic, and this one is super important. He knows power dynamics, and I think 7 can go in depth a little bit further. Power dynamics of what? Power dynamics of himself, his partner, his surroundings. What does that all encompass? The one thing I like about this list is encompassing the man. No one else. You as a high value man is a high value man on your own first. You're validated second. And a lot of people don't want to hear this. You're often validated second, most importantly, by a woman. A high value man is recognized by a woman first, man second. 2 guys can walk into the gym and just have mutual respect for each other, but they won't recognize their value. You could say like, oh, okay, he's pretty strong. But a woman has been almost developed to identify key aspects of what makes a man stand out in a crowd. That's how they can tell the boys from the little men, and they start walking to a crowd. So I think women have a radar for this. And a lot of guys don't want to hear this. I'm not going to be validated by a woman. You kind of have to be. if you want to be a high value man. But that's just my head case in this situation. Power dynamics is another thing that he's honest to his own value system. Yo, Kevin Samuels is not representing number 8 because he talks about being married. He talks about being with one person. He talks about being a good stand-up dude. Hey, what up? Shades shot. Oh, hey, what's going on? Shade Sade. Shade. Hey, you did get the name. Good on you. That's amazing. But thanks for following the channel. I appreciate it. But I often have to remind people this. Kevin Samuels is a hypocrite. If no matter what he says, if you believe in it or not, when he's badgering and saying that he's a high value, this and that, he's being disingenuous because he doesn't follow his own code. And if you can't stick to your own rules, who the fuck are you going to have honor towards? Period. Right? If you can't be real with yourself, you're going to lie to everyone else. Hands down. Show me a guy who says, I'm doing big things. I'm one step away from making it to the next thing. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to show you a guy who constantly is writing a book of prologues. A bunch of startups with no middle, no filling, no end. And I understand Kevin Samuels is a great entertainer. His plaques, his numbers, I aspire. But if you're going there for solid information, you're doing yourself a disservice. He has growth mindset. I think this also fills in with 4 and 5. They stole something else from this list. And number 10, takes responsibility. It's a very hard thing to do. Taking responsibility for your actions, accountability, that motherfucking word will bring a grown man to tears. Accountability? I got to pay 2 bills before the end of the night. And I got to call some people back. I got to finish some emails. I'm not feeling this shit. And I got to watch the game. I'm not feeling this adulthood shit. But I didn't choose this life. It chose me. And if I choose not to follow through with the basic necessities of my livelihood, people suffer. And some might die. That's a lot of pressure. But that's what it means to be a high value man. So do I think I'm a high value man? You goddamn right. Do I need the validation of that through people in the chat? Someone in the chat, please say yes. Put a heart in chat if you think I'm a high value man. But I want to give this girl credit. Oh, Stephanie, check out her link for sure. There's also a segment in here that I think I just want to give you a little piece of what she, because she talks about pretty privilege. And I can touch on this a little bit but pretty privilege to me is universal. Because pretty privilege to me is something that's physical, right? And it's based on, there's obviously there's certain people that are more desirable in our social structure based on like what you see in magazines and what you see on TV. Like that's a clear indication of what's desirable. But you know me, I'm Bernie Mac black. I never liked that whole Drake milk shit. That wasn't for me. And yeah, I'm putting a little colorism in there for jokes. But there are people who take that shit dead serious. What's the one nationality? I think it's Dominican. Like there be some Dominican Republican ass people, Dominican people who walk around darker than me, talking about no, I'm not black. The fuck? And it's that dissociation, right? They don't see black as being attractive, so they'll dissociate themselves. Shout out to you guys for getting 100%. We got 100 chats in the chat, man. That's 10 people watching with us, man. We in here right now. I appreciate you guys. 10 people watching with us right now. That's what I love to see. 100 people commenting here. I love that. Let me put this congratulatory thing in here. And before I go into that, like I'm gonna finish this quickly with the thing. But basically, it's to be expected, right? So I think that part of it makes her. But also because this is a trait attribute to physicality. There's no way for women to actually get better with time on this. because there's always going to be someone prettier, someone better looking, someone with bigger boobs, someone with a nicer ass. Hell, they're doing better vaginas now. So you are losing every day as you become women. So I don't think this is a fair attributing thing to give to women. I think there should be a thing such as a high value woman. And I don't think they should be graded on the same scale as us. Hey, my name's Heero and I say some reckless shit. I think there is a such thing as a high value woman. So am I gonna rattle off some shit on my high value woman list? I think so. What do I call a high value woman? It's about her business and only needs the validation of the man she gives validation to. That's my 2 right there. 1 and 2. About her business and only seeks the validation of the man she gives validation to. Boom. Right off top. Right? What's another thing you need? I think saying you have goals and all that stuff is nice, but having a plan of action is super attractive. Like, don't come to me and say, I want to start a business. Tell me about what it costs to start an LLC and also the tax deductible rates that you're wanting to put into it. How much of the write-ups are you already prepared to do on the I-90 form? Do you plan on having employees? Do you plan on having a brick and mortar spot? If you have any online tangible things, are you planning on linking those things into a website that is also attributed to that I-90 form that you can then write off on it? What is your budget looking like? What is... my dick is rock hard right now. That's attractive as fuck to me. Talk to me about that type of shit. A plan of action. That sounds super attractive. I think because I'm a man, there's a part of me that has to put something in there that I have to find you physically attractive. And I'm not too much caring about what you think you have to do to look desirable to the world, because you're not going to get to fuck the world. You're just going to get to fuck me. So I think you caring about what I care about as far as that, because I think that also goes vice versa. If I say I like a natural haired girl and I want her to have her own natural hair, I'm not going to sit here and say that you can't wear weaves and stuff like that. It's not my place. But if you're asking me what I like, if you're asking me if I'm paying for a hairstyle, if I'm paying to get your hair done, that's what I'm paying for. And you know what? I might even have to pay for those extra things, because I think that's just part of the deal. But I think a big part of it is being attractive to your partner first, the world second, is a big thing for me. I don't know if I have 10 of these in me, but I think like another thing for me is intelligence. I think because education is expensive, but you can be intelligent. You can literally look up how to replace a left kidney and put it on a pump right now on YouTube. It's possible. That's how I learned. I think being resourceful is another thing, like working with the deck you're given in some type of familial connections says something to me, because I don't think a high value woman was just created out of thin air. She had to have come from a high value woman. And I think that's something that goes for men as well. A high value woman is someone who's tied closely to her mother, her father, and her siblings. It's super attractive to come to, because you don't just get the woman, you get the family too. So you might as well make sure you get to know that whole thing. But there's a whole bunch of things I could run down in this list. But ultimately, a high value woman to me is a woman that I value, who also values me, period. Right? I think that should go for everybody. But let's get a little sneak peek of what she got to say.
A high value man, they really, really focus on that concept of value. And it's not just a metaphorical social currency in their minds. It's like a real currency. So I have seen, people take this label and apply it to really anybody that has money. For me, I'm guilty of this as well. I know I said it in my video that a lot of times I find myself only being the object of affection of men who don't try to move very far in life. And so as a result, they don't have a lot of resources. But I also did go back and say, for me, what matters most is vision. Because a man with vision and a man with real plans is a man who's never poor. And so to me, that's a high value man. But again, a lot of times what I see happening is people consider a high value man to be one that has a lot of money. And as a result, men with a lot of money tend to get away with a lot of terrible, terrible, terrible things.
That's hilarious. Let's push in a little bit more to the video.
To make it work for him. So I met him, like I'm saying, during the pandemic. It's his time. After he reclassified, the school, I responded before I was really ready, but I was so excited for anyone who knows this man. I was so excited because this is a person who, number one, is emotionally intelligent, and number two, is so compassionate. He knows. He may not experience this. He may know other people that don't experience it, but it's his job as a person who loves and cares for people who are going through it to try and understand their side. To me, that man is priceless. Another example of a high value man, I was teaching, as we all know by now, and this last year during the pandemic, I had a student teacher. And this is a guy who, he was a lot younger. He was like 23. And he had moved from Mexico to the United States when he was 15. Didn't speak any English. He continued to take classes. He reclassified, which reclassification is just a fancy word for the student now knows enough English to be able to make it in classes without an aide around all the time. After he reclassified, the school took notice of the fact that he had a voracious appetite for like new information.
That's a big word right there, voracious.
So he comes over to the country not speaking any English, and within 2 years he's competing on academic decathlon teams for the school that he was at. He also shared with me that when he came over, his family was first living in a hotel while they were trying to get things set up. He didn't know anybody. He was scared. He was over here with his brother and his sister. But he was determined to make it work for him. So I met him, like I'm saying, during the pandemic. It's his senior year of college, and we're working one day, and I'm like, okay, so, how's everything going? Are you understanding everything? And he's like, yeah, I'm understanding things. And then I notice that he has a little bit of a sniffle, and I say, hey, what's going on? Are you not feeling well? And he says, oh, yeah, I've got a little bit of a cold, but, I don't think it's anything big. And I said, well,
that
the
COVID
pandemic is happening, and have you been tested for corona? And he tells me, oh yeah, but I was tested for it. I don't think I have it again. I said, again? And he said, yeah, whenever the school year first started, I was dealing with coronavirus. Also, my dad, who works construction, he brought it home. He had it much more severely than me. So I'm doing all my schoolwork, and at the same time, I'm dealing with this virus. Now, just to be completely transparent, he did not have a severe case of it. Like, he just lost his sense of taste and his sense of smell, and he was able to recover. But the fact that he is still pushing through, taking care of his father, and then his dad has to have an operation. He got like a nail in his foot. And so at one point, the kid called me from his car. We're Zooming like while he's sitting in the car. There was another day where I'm talking to him and I'm like, okay, well, how do you think that class went? Is there anything I did that you have questions about? And he says, no. And he says, I'm sorry if I was off today. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? I didn't notice anything. And he says, oh, well, I was really trying to hold back some emotions today. My grandma died last night. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I thought he was about to tell me he's going to take time off. He's going to do this and that. But he just keeps talking. And he's like, no, my family is on their way back to Mexico right now. I thought about it and I prayed about it. And
I'm going to just give the TLDR of this story. What she's basically saying is the resilience of this guy is what makes him high value. I think just covering the full length of the story, you guys should definitely check out the complete story. If I remember to put it in the description, I will. But they're talking about resilience. Resilience maketh man. It's a saying from the fucking I love this movie too, and I can't believe I'm flaking on the name. It has Edgerton inside of it. It's basic Kingsman. Manners maketh men. Same thing. Resilience maketh men. It's about trials and tribulations, about who you really are in the heat of the moment. Anyone can say they're high value when ain't shit happening, but when the value is high and shit starts getting real, what you gonna do? What you gonna say? What you gonna do? How you gonna handle yourself? How you gonna carry yourself? You feel me? I think that is super impressive. I think that is what we're all aiming here, what we're all measuring ourselves on. But this video has gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it's well worth it. I think the definition, the thing I want to see in people is stop using these goddamn terms without understanding the definition. Before you seek the validation of somebody else, make sure you validate it yourself first. And before you think about uttering the words of your value based on materialistic or physical attributes that will not sustain you past the world being blown to smithereens, think to yourself, why are you saying this out loud? Because if it doesn't make sense to you to say it out loud, because if no one can notice these things about you without you saying it, it's probably not a very significant part of you. And that's just my opinion. But I'd love to hear your opinion about what a high value man is, what's pretty privileged, and what's all this other shit mean. Thanks for the, oh, dang, Milwaukee's up 10 points. Thanks, Nafi. I appreciate it. Nafi giving us the game updates. Appreciate it. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Like, share, subscribe, sub to the YouTube channel. Now, Twitch is our baby, but our baby mama, YouTube, she be coming around. She be trying to ask for her ducats and her coins. So y'all can just give her a like, a share, a subscribe. If she looks you in the eye, just look down. Don't get into no arguments where she gets really loud during the day. But our baby, Twitch, she been with us strong now for 2 years and holding it down. And she pays us. Jeff Bezos will give us some money. If you have Amazon Prime, if you buy stuff on Amazon Prime, you can pay me for free. You can link those two accounts, make it happen. But if you don't want to look at this pretty privileged face, check me out. Let me give y'all a zoom in real quick, because y'all need to see this, yo. Pretty privileged. You feel me? What's good? That boy fine. But you can listen to me on the radio, Spotify, iTunes, all those things. I'm TikTok famous. I got 2 videos over 1,000 views. Come see me. I'm out here. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those major platforms. We're on there. Check us out. We greatly appreciate it. Now let me give y'all that link for that link tree. And you gotta take care of yourself, man. Go be high value to someone in this world other than yourself. But it's so hard to find through the daily grind. Been working overtime, and I'm sleep deprived. Shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like